Hello everyone, this is Ryan from Amnesty. I'm going to show you Ramses II for Egypt. I'll tell you about the victory conditions I'd recommend if you were to play as him, the social policies, and his two unique units. Now, granted, he has a unique unit and a unique building. So, he has monument builders, which means you get 20% production towards wonder construction, which is really nice if you want to go towards a cultural victory. The number one thing I'd recommend if you were playing Egypt. Why is that? Obviously, it's wonder construction. You stay small, have a couple cities, have one maybe produce the military just to kind of keep the competition up with the other cities, or not cities, but other AI that are playing with you, so that way they don't attack you, hopefully. And then your capital predominantly, or another city that produces quite a lot to produce those wonders for you. The wonders will do wonders for you. And so I would definitely recommend building, let's say for instance, Terracotta Army 1, Sistine Chapel, the ones that give you the extra culture, the edge up on everybody else. So definitely go for that. I would stay small. That's what I definitely would recommend to do as well. And then also a little tip as well, if you pick the tradition social policy, you'll get an additional 15% production for wonders. So what does that mean? That means that you will have a grand total of 35% production towards wonder construction. So that is huge. You will build wonders like nobody's business. And then secondly, I would go with a scientific victory. You don't want to go with the cultural one. And I would say if you do go for science, you don't have to, but you probably could expand a little bit more. But instead of building wonders that relate to cultural things, go for the scientific ones, such as the Great Library, the National College, and amongst others that give you extra science. And then third, I would recommend playing a diplomatic victory. I wouldn't really recommend that one, to be honest, predominantly because sure, you stay small, and AI really they won't really mess with you. Sometimes just if you don't have an army, then they will. But say for instance the city-states, it's just too much work really when you have these two other victory types that you could go after. That's so much easier. I mean, diplomatic is possible, but I just find it a little bit more difficult, because then I would recommend going to the patronage tree, and you kind of lose what could be so good about Egypt. And then lastly would be domination. Obviously I wouldn't recommend that one either. You want to stay somewhat small. You don't really want to build up this huge army and go conquer the lands of everybody else. It's kind of missing the point of playing Egypt anyhow. I mean, if you do go that route, because you can, I would say build military wonders. There's few and far between, but even the ones that are out there, especially the early ones, I see them more or less as a defensive type wonder, like the Great Walls. The can't think of that name. The only one that I can think of that early on is really nice is the Jaime Castle. Probably pronounced that wrong. There's one that gives you additional benefits throughout your playthrough. But anyway, I will now show you the War Chariot and the Burial Tomb. So the War Chariot will cost 56 production or 112 faith. It's an archery unit. It's got a combat rating of 6, range combat of 10, range of 2, and a movement of 5. So unfortunately he has a bunch of negative things. He has a rough terrain penalty. He doesn't have terrain bonuses. Doesn't have defensive terrain bonuses, so if you're in the hills, the forest, you don't get any extra benefits. And you may not melee attack, clearly, because you're an archer. You're not going to smack him with your bow. So he does do more than the normal, chariot archer that you would build. But, unfortunately, there's not much of a reason to build them. They have a lot of penalties. They really only serve as a defensive unit, as I would see. The only good thing about it, it's a fast archer. You can move it, you can run them through really quick. But besides that, there's a lot of negatives to it. So, I wouldn't build it. Even if you're playing domination, I'd only build a couple of these to go take a city. They're really not that powerful compared to some other units. Anyway, so the Burial Tomb will cost you 100 production. I'm going to give you 2 happiness and 2 faith. Doesn't require any gold maintenance, So, and also replace the temple. So you're going to need to build a shrine and then this guy. So what does that mean? It really means that you can have a religion early on, and you can use that religion to help you with other things in your victory condition setting. Say for instance culture. You take that religion and then you use culture religion policies to tie in with that. And then same thing with science. Instead of culture relating things, you have science relating things to win that victory. So that does it for their special units and building. Now I will show you the social policy I'd recommend if you were to play as Egypt. Before I show you any social policy, I won't recommend anything. I'll show you the stirrup bias of Egypt. Now, you'll be around gold. That's generally true. You'll also be normally near desert. Chances are you will be near a river as well. Normally you won't be on the coast. Sometimes you will. So this one's a little bit odd because there's jungle. Normally there's not jungle when I play Egypt, but anything happens. So there's jungle there. Anyway, so your social policy that I would recommend for it would definitely be tradition. And why is that? Because you'll get more border expansion in cities. It'll give you some more culture, which is nice if you're looking for that cultural victory, which I recommend. Oligarchy will help out with the unit maintenance. You'll get more happiness out of your capital based upon the amount of citizens there are. And then more importantly, aristocracy. 15% production when building wonders, and 1 happiness for every 10 citizens in a city. That is huge, 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 huge. Definitely go for that, because you're going to need it, because you will dominate building wonders if you do so. And then also, if you are going for a scientific victory rather than cultural victory, I would also recommend rationalism down the line, specifically for the two free technologies you get at the end of it all. And then also the research agreements will be boosted by 50%. Chances are, if you are going scientifically, you're already going to have the porcelain tower. That gives you 50% just by building that one. So, having this, you have 100%. So it will help out greatly. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching Egypt. Please rate, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching.